Alex Jones went on Steven Crowder's program after Crowder was in a hole, some sort of hiatus, hiding from Candace Owens' not so subtle attempts to blackmail him into stopping this war against the Daily Wire, which seems to have worked.
Well, it worked, yeah. I mean, it looked like it might have been a stunt to promote his new sort of
media venture
with Rumble, invested in by Peter Thiel, David Sachs, and host of also like Russell Brand and Jimmy Dorrance, people like that.
So they're trying to expand their reach. But yeah, he did, when she said, "We all know things about you," and then he was quiet for a month. I'm just taking note of that. Anyway,
that's what they call in Marine warfare a shot across the bow.
That is what I have heard that phrase before. Yes, good. But anyway, so Alex Jones goes on Crowder. They speak about Trump. Alex Jones tries to be the voice of reason for Trump, saying like, "Hey, you don't want to rile up the masses, right? That's not something that you should engage in." Maybe speaking from his own personal experience, but here we go.
Do you think there will be protests if he's indicted?
Oh, well, I've got an issue with Trump on that, and I'm not saying he didn't have the right to say it. I'm not saying he's wrong to say it, but I would have said it better. We got set up on January 6th. We know that now. A million people came there. A few hundred attacked the police. The police hit themselves with tear gas. We now have the footage. Yeah. That's how the first breach happened. But then they waved in the other.
Yeah, I mean, this is 40 different lies. A million people?
Also, like, you weren't...
The setup?
Like, the setup, there's this idea that the setup was, like, the deep state.
Huh.
It was also your media, like your entire media.
It was actually you, bro.
Like all you talking about
Charlie Kirk bussing people there, Alex Jones speaking, riling people up.
Steven Crowder doing hyperventilating on election night, saying, "Oh, they're putting. Look at what's going on in Arizona. Look at what's going on in Michigan. Look at what's all going on in all these places." That is what set them up to put themselves in legal jeopardy on January 6th. What's her name that got shot? She died as a result. Ashley Babbitt is dead because of the GOP campaign lies.
Yeah. So he, all right, continue. Alex Jones is going to lie, but I couldn't let that slide.
Know that now. A million people came there. A few hundred attacked the police. The police hit themselves with tear gas. We now have the footage. Yeah. That's how the first breach happened. But then they waved in the other folks and have put almost 1,000 of them in jail. It's an American gulag. It's absolutely terrible. And then Trump says, "Take our country back. Protest if I get indicted." Well, you could see then how some people will think take the country back. And then if some provocateurs do something, they can now point right at Trump and say, "See, he basically pushed him to do this." So it does look like he's trying to use the public to push right up to the edge. And I think in this powder keg volatile situation we're in, we don't need to be like Antifa that just tried to burn down the police station.
All right, pause this for a second.
We don't want to be.
He's just like, "Hey, Trump, you've got to be careful with your words here."
Because this puts me in trouble too. Like that's the thing, is when Trump gets in legal jeopardy, all of a sudden texts start getting access and stuff like that, and it's like, oh shit, look at all this stuff he was talking, or his campaign advisor was talking with Alex Jones on this date or whatever.
It's so funny too that he's saying, look, you gotta be careful with your words because you might influence some people to do some bad things and they might get in trouble. Like, hey, you might get in trouble, buddy. Remember what happened to me? I've influenced all those guys to harass the Sandy Hook parents and get them to move 8 times.
It'd be a real shame if I was named in another lawsuit, so don't implicate me again.
I'm trying to protect you from libel lawsuits, Donald.
Like them out shooting people at four-way stops. So they want violence because they're losing hearts and minds. We don't want to be like Maxine Waters saying go out and get violent. We want to be the opposite.
Like me.
Pissed. I get it's wrong. Someday there may be a 1776 issue where things are so bad we got to get physical. But I think we should exhaust all the remedies first. And I don't think if there is a violent revolution, it should be randomly attacking police or Capitol buildings. Of
course.
It should be how George Washington would do it. And I'm not wargaming that here. I'm just saying physical war is a very serious issue, and it shouldn't start in some riot.
Yeah. Which I don't think he wanted, but like you're saying, he didn't word it maybe prudently. There's one thing that's like, hey, reckless. Protests, make your voices heard peacefully, which he did, by the way, on January 6th. He did. But this, just being in a written
post, it'll
be easy.
He called it trial by combat, or was that Rudy Giuliani? Like the idea that this idea that he has actually he wants this. And there's a reason he's doing the exact same thing again, is because he wants the same same outcome.
Yeah.
Like if he gets indicted, he wants them to like storm barricades because that's what he's their daddy, and if they don't come and protect him, like, what has all this been for?
But that's the whole point of what Trump is doing when he's truthing out, come protest on my behalf. It's an intimidation tactic for the people that could potentially put him in jail.
Exactly.
And so when you hear people say like, oh, do we want to actually pursue justice and pursue charges against Trump because there's going to be retaliation in the amongst the masses, that's the exact thing that kind of thinking is exactly what people like Trump want, which is don't come after the powerful because there's going to be backlash. But it's interesting to hear that kind of come out of Alex Jones's mouth, because he knows all too well what happens when you rile people up with lies.
Lawsuits happen in Discovery gets up your ass.
And I also think Alex Jones just showing how he's not that different than the standard Republican thinker at this point. They all are worried about what Trump and the cult that he's created is doing to the conservative movement broadly. And more January 6th events where the crazies are protesting and get arrested for maybe a potential violent act does nothing for the Republicans except bad. But here we go.
One thing is like, hey, protest, make your voices heard peacefully, which he did, by the way, on January 6th.
He did.
But this, just being in a written post, it'll be easy for the media to paint.
Well, he's got a lot of power.
Sure.
He's got a lot of power, and it'll allow them to plant provocateurs like Ray Epps again, and provocateurs, some hotheads. And so it's like, listen, if you're filling up your tractor with gasoline and it's your farm, do you have a right to smoke a cigarette while you're doing it? Yeah, but it's probably something you shouldn't do.
Right.
And so he's lighting up
what's
the
metaphor?
while he's playing with.
What's the farm here? Like elections, or I guess the justice system.
That was nonsense.
Do we want more of that, or are we good? Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Responsible.
Looks like right. He's got a little shell shocked from being under like a multi-billion-dollar judgment.
I mean, just the thing is, and this is similar to that Charlie Kirk clip we played, but when Alex Jones says we need to exhaust like the sort of measures, presumably like elections and stuff, but Steven Crowder's telling you that you can't trust those elections, that there's a conspiracy against the truth of that. So is Alex Jones part of the conspiracy, or is maybe Steven Crowder lying on that to cover up the fact that his like entire reaction to the election night was hysterical lying?
And it wasn't multi-billions, it's multi, but it's over $1 billion, right? Over $1 billion in his judgment? There's been 2 separate ones, so I can't keep track. But anyway, just a quick correction.